Many thanks to Almighty God for giving us this opportunity to witness another edition of Bystanders at Newsstands. Of course, you know this is Bystanders at Newsstand. It is our ultimate responsibility to dish out the information you want on different Nigerian journals. I am Michael Adekunle and you are on to Flip TV. On today's newspaper review, we have the Vanguard newspaper. Was the Vanguard newspaper telling us this morning, and was here on this headline, the front page of Vanguard newspaper is Nigeria now more corrupt than under me. Nigeria now more corrupt than under me, says Jonathan. And on the rider says he hand over vibrant economy of $500 billion GDP. Adds Buhari's demarketing of Nigeria cause recession, not looking by PDP. You can see another headline here saying Igbo presidency in 2023 depends on support for Buhari's re-election. Igbo's presidency in 2023 depends on support for Buhari's re-election. Another headline here, Boko Haram has killed 2,300 teachers, destroyed 1,000 schools, says UNESCO. And on today's newspaper review, we still have the Punch newspaper. And what was the Punch newspaper saying here? It's saying Jonathan is saying something. My transition hours, an elementary book of fiction. Jonathan's My Transition Hours, an elementary book of fiction, says Borno governor. Again, with another very good writer here, no regrets working against Jonathan, says ACF-NEF. No regrets working against Jonathan, says ACF-NEF. With a picture here illustrating two people that died under auto crash in Ondo State. 2 die, others injured in Ondo auto crash. These are what we have on today's newspaper review. I am Michael Adekunle. We have our reviewers at the newsstands. I'll be right back. We have something on the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria now more corrupt than under me. The ex-president is saying this. Do you believe in this?
I think as a former leader, there are some information that may be privy to him that may not be in the public domain. But I still think he has a responsibility to substantiate his allegation, because we cannot just believe him on mere speculation. But as for me, I feel the government is not fighting corruption the way it should be, because I see anti-corruption fight as a holistic thing. I find out a situation where somebody who is saddled with responsibility of fighting corruption is doing it in a lopsided manner. I take exception to the recent issue that came at the front burner recently, when I was made to understand that a petitioner wrote a petition against Oshomole since 2016, and EFCC refused to act. The guy subsequently wrote a reminder, and EFCC refused to act. Until this year, the man in question dragged EFCC to court, asking court to compel EFCC to arrest and prosecute Oshomole. And all we see is EFCC trying to use 1 or 2 techniques to stop the arrest and prosecution. So for me, I see it as not being fair. As you look at the manner the sacked secretary of the federal government is still allowed to work freely. I'm not saying he's corrupt, I'm not saying he's culpable, but since he has been fired on the strength of an investigation panel that was set up by the federal government, I think the right thing to do was to prosecute him. Let the court do the needful. If he's corrupt, if he's found culpable, he goes in for it. If he's not culpable, he'll be free. But the situation where he's not been tried, perhaps because he's an ally of the presidency or whoever, is not fair.
Well, did Jonathan fight corruption?
He may not have fought corruption. I see him as somebody who fought corruption by using technology, because the BVN thing, it is his initiative. The TSA is his initiative. All these are technical tools to checkmate corruption.
All his initiatives.
Pardon?
They are all his initiatives, right?
Yes. Then again, but I didn't see him as somebody who was serious to actually fight corruption in itself. Just as I didn't see Buhari as somebody who is actually even fighting corruption. By the time you prosecute your political enemies, I saw the whipper recruit Jonathan chase away Ibori out of this country. He went to Dubai, he was extradited to London, and eventually he was tried and jailed. If he used that willpower to fight corruption holistically in Nigeria, would have been better for it today. The same thing this current government is doing, using all the instruments of states to go against any perceived enemy. I am not saying those that are fighting are not corrupt, but let it be a holistic thing, irrespective of who's all is God. That is how you fight corruption. Not a situation where you look at a Fayose because it's not your political platform, you go after him. You look at Dr. C because it's not your political platform, you go after him. You look at a Saraki because the manner he ascended to the position of Senate president, you went after him. If I continue seeing things like that, it doesn't give ordinary man who have no political platform confidence in the system. So for me, if only the president will listen, I think the right thing for him to do is to go back to the drawing board. Give your herdsmen who are piloting the affairs of this anti-corruption a marching order. Don't look at faces, irrespective of who else is God. Anybody that persists to be corrupt, arrest, do your proper investigation, charge that person to court, and let's see what comes out of it.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, you know, Nigeria of today, we are talking about corruption, corruption, corruption. But we never define what is corruption. And secondly, under Jonathan administration, a kind of institutions were set up to tackle that corruption. It's not about singing, it's about action.
Action.
Yeah. And you understand, during the time of Jonathan and Okonjo-Iweala as the coordinating minister, finance and coordinating minister, they tackled that corruption in a very mild way without insulting or intimidating any person. And if you remember, under Jonathan, somebody like Balogun, IG of P, Balogun, he forfeited all his stole without making fuse about it. You understand me? Because of the way they handle corruption affairs in Nigeria. And I believe that what is happening today is just about confusing Nigerians that this administration is fighting corruption without setting up institutions to fight that corruption. You understand me? Okay, for example, look at what is happening in the custom. The DG of custom disobeyed the law, disobeyed the National Assembly because of what? The man at the head disobeyed court orders. So he found out that all that follows him disobey whatever that is law and the constitution of Nigeria, and that is corruption. That is corruption. So if you look at what is happening in some states, we find out that some ex-governors, ministers and commissioners were indicted in their various states, but they are working under this administration. So their case were swept under the carpet. If you want to fight corruption, start from yourself. You understand me? Not from your oppositions. You see, this government is a government of vendetta. fighting people you feel that they don't support you. So I believe that under the Jada administration, corruption is fought in a very civilized way.
Civilized way.
Where they recover so many money, many amounts of money, without embarrassing their opponents or their oppositions.
But the same government was said to have embezzled money.
You see, embezzlement without proof, evidence, is still a lie. I so much believe that if you believe that this person is corrupt, you see what is happening in Nigeria is that we persecute people on newspaper. We jail them on newspaper. You understand me? But in reality, we don't have any evidence against them. You understand me? This government have never jailed any person. They talk about one of the governors from Plateau State that was sentenced about 14 years imprisonment. That case started under Jonathan administration.
What of Dasuki?
Yeah?
Dasuki.
You see, the Dasuki issue is a different issue. When you put a man under custody and you are charging him corruption, yeah, you say he's corrupt, right? Prove it. When you tell a man against the constitution of the country that you are ruling, you swear auto. You are not doing the right thing. The right thing is that, you know, I have traveled places, countries. Before you pick up somebody as a security agent, you must first investigate that person, get evidences against that very person, so that when you pick him up, you can be able to persecute that person in the court of law. But in a situation whereby you just get an information that this happened that way, then you go and pick that person without evidence and you detain that person for over 3 years now. Are you fighting corruption? How can you prove that that man is corrupt? How can you tell the world that this man is corrupt? Even when the court have granted bail to that man, you still refuse on the grounds of national security. What is national security? People are being killed every day. Is that national security? Boko Haram are killing people every day. Militants are killing people every day. And you say national security. What is greater than this? So, to me, as far as I am concerned, Dasuki is not corrupt until you prove that to Nigerians that he's a corrupt person. Do you understand what I'm saying? Until you prove it that he's corrupt, there is no evidence on the ground that that man is corrupt. Or you show us that evidence that is corrupt. So that's my judgment. Thank you very much.
To me, I think everybody's eyes are wide open to see. They say they know the tell blind man say rain they fall. If he touch him for body, go no see yes na rain. So we go find way to put a shelter. I can even let me go around this one. We talk about corruption, and they say if you want to know a man, hold him by the horns. So this man that is in power, if I want to go against him, that even the president itself, the man in charge is corrupt. Number one, more than the past regime. One, there's a lot of promises he make during his campaign. He comes out publicly and said, a man that increases fuel, that man is supposed to be killed. Do this one. He does not spend up to 4 years there or 2 years. He increases petroleum. What about a man that set up a subsidy strategies and say this thing, after this strategy have been amended into this position, this thing is not going to be more than this. For about 6-7 years he was there. I think petrol are not going up more than that. That is Jonathan. I think in the issue of make we come to food stop, I remember that time I used to buy a bag of rice 7,500. Compared to now we are buying almost 16,000 naira. I think this is an evidence of corruption. I think if we talk about he want to kill, as the young man that passed away, I've already rightly said, in that time there are a lot of people, they persecute them with evidence and they do something that we see is an evidence. Yes, these people deserve it. But now, without talking about, because if you are not a member of my party, I can bring an allegation against you and say you are corrupt. Then now we talk about Koro. Koro was there as some minister in the past regime. The past that is corrupt. But when it came to APC, the corruption charge against him was, we don't even hear anything about the corruption. We say the man that this man Agbaje in the flag bearer of People Democratic Party, that he comes out as a governorship candidate. We have about an allegation written about him that this man is do this, they go to bed. After he had come to APC, there's no evidence against this. So all this one has just an evidence to say yes, these people. And I know in that time a man, even the president, he talks, if you wanted to be a right Nigerian, let all your children go school in Nigeria. But after you have entered here, he said, my children can go school to abroad. If you don't have the money for your children to go school and abroad, you can maintain it. So all these are the roots of corruption. So if you want to talk about fighting corruption, it's not about speaking it, because I know the past man that speak now that this regime is more corrupt than me. That's a lot of evidence. Because I remember that time they come and see one account of Jonathan. They said him, how comes about this money? He said, I was now from the vice chairman, I become the chairman of a local council. From there I become deputy governor. I become a governor. From there I become vice president. I'm now to president. He said, quote me to any part of the world. If I am this all in this institution and the higher position, can't I have amount of this? He said, but one thing I will speak to you, that if you go all over the world, if you can see any other account that has been recorded in my name, he said, prove me and do anything for me. I think this is a man of integrity. This is a man ready to fight corruption. Buhari, before he entered here, what was the account? They said, come and clear your asset. He did not clear any asset. But now we are now fighting corruption. I think it's just, this thing is easy said and done. I want the action to be spoken. But I know one thing for me. It's not about man saying, because I know the Bible said when the time comes, he said, and the children of Israel cried to the Lord. He said, and God sent them what? God sent them a deliverer. I know that the cries of the children of Nigeria have reached God, and God is going to send us a deliverer. Thank you. God bless you.
There was a lot of corruption. You understand? So corruption can never end in this country. That's the truth about it. That's the way I see it. There's no way corruption can end. You understand? They say APC is good. PDP is all good. But we discovered that APC, they are not doing well in this country. And every blessed day, things are getting worse and worse. So we don't know where to go. That is the truth. So we don't know where we are going in this country again. So
Jonathan's regime and Buhari's regime, can you compare it? In terms of corruption?
I prefer, I must tell you the truth, I prefer Jonathan regime. You understand? Why I prefer Jonathan regime was that people was talking about corruption. That Jonathan regime, they was stealing money everywhere here and there. But things was working in the country. Jonathan government, there's corruption. There's no way. Every moment there is corruption in this country. You understand? We are talking, even you are talking about corruption. Look at even the policeman on the street. They are still doing corruption. Then tell me, how can you fight corruption? There's no way you can fight corruption in this country. The corruption is started from the top. There's no way you can fight corruption in the country. Are you going to see me? But for me, I prefer Jonathan regime.
You prefer Jonathan?
Yes, I prefer Jonathan regime. Because APC has failed Nigerians. I'm telling you the truth, APC. See, let me tell you, my brother, I witnessed a woman at Shaka, a woman whereby somebody, another person was cooking. When the person cooked, then the woman now discovered that that woman that cooked, he went inside to the room and he goes straight to where that woman pot is. He carried the food to give his children. And it has never been happened in Jonathan regime. You understand? You can see even the poor masses, even the masses, the people were still working, things were still flowing. You understand? There are so many jobs, media, small jobs. People are still working. Money is still coming. You understand? People are living fine. How much was rice during Jonathan regime? How much carry? This, in fact, the country has turned upside down. So we don't know where we are going anymore.
Would you tell me that within these 3.5 years, or let me say 3 years of the existence of this government, APC, you've not seen any action from them in terms of fighting corruption?
My brother, when we are talking about corruption, see, there's no way you can fight corruption. You allow the economy to fall. That is the truth about it. First of all, we are the people that put you in that power. We are the people. So first of all, you need to look at the masses. You need to look at the masses, the people that put you in that power. There's no way you can fight corruption and you allow the economy to pour and you expect the masses to be happy. Are you getting me? Fine, we discovered that there is corruption everywhere. There's corruption everywhere. Now, Jonathan regime, there was corruption. This Buhari regime, there's corruption. There's nobody that will tell me that there's no corruption. There's corruption everywhere. But my point is that when you are fighting corruption, you need to look back. You need to look at the people that put you in that power. You need to make sure that you put food on their table. You make things work well. You can't fight corruption and you leave the economy to flow. Are you getting me? So it's not possible.
There's some certain things that's going on in this country, like about the Koi money they discovered. They promised that they investigate the matter, then bring out who stole the money or who kept the money there. We don't hear about the stuff again. Now, about the Kaduna airport money that they found, they don't say anything about the money. What about the Abacha loot? Now they are distributing the money, 10,000 to poor widows or poor women, poor people, because of campaign, so that they vote for them. And the worst part is that without PVC, they are not going to give you the 10,000. That means they are doing it for campaign. If you want to help the citizen, then distribute money. Give everybody, whether you have PVC or not. As long as you are an indigenous of this country, you're supposed to give everybody. But when I check the form, you have to, if you don't have your PVC, you must give them your PVC code before they will issue you the money. So that's corruption. Me, I'm not expecting everything just to change at once. Normally, it's supposed to be a gradual process. But as for me, I believe that we youth should forget about government and hustle on our own. Because I believe if God bless me, this country is very sweet individually. So most of all these rich people, they are not more complaining about the condition of this country or situation. Now because of we, the poor masses, we are complaining because it's affecting us individually. But when God raise you, bros, this country is very okay. About Buhari regime, bros, as for me and my own opinion, I think we need change. Maybe people are complaining about hardship, that things are not working fine. Because of all these things, that's why we removed Jonathan.
But is this not a change?
This is a change, but Nigeria want new change.
New change.
A different change. The change that will open door for things to flow. Despite that will still be corruption, no matter who's enter. But let things just flow. Make poor masses see food to eat. At least make them have peace of mind, relax, eat, drink.
And what are you looking up to?
Let me not be biased or sentimental.
We have different parties right now.
Like I said, let me not be biased or sentimental. I'm an Igbo boy. Forget about Buhari, Biafra stuff. For me, bros, it's affecting me individually. So I will go for articulated.
This is where we wrap it up on today's edition of Bystanders at Newsstands. Remember, everyone is entitled to each our own opinion. I'm Michael Adekunle. How come the way next time? Bye.